Hi, folks. I'm Joe Wesley of JNL Creative Solutions. And for those who are coming back to visit us again, thank you very much. For those who are seeing us for the first time, we appreciate that. The concept is what's your secret sauce that gives you a distinct advantage over your competition? And the method of that in part is to take the hot seat challenge. Now, it's only 30 minutes, so we're not talking a full flavored sauce here or gravy. As I said earlier to somebody, it's talking about salt and pepper and not the sage and the parsnip and the turnips, things of that nature. But what we do is I begin by asking my guest, what's your favorite pastime? Because that goes to your passion, as opposed to, I've got 3 kids, 5 grandkids, something like that. And what I intend to discover is what's unique about this Jeff Schwartz that nobody else can lay claim to that gives him a distinct advantage in his market, whatever it may be. It could be repairing overhead garage doors for all I know. So again, I'm Joe Wesley. Thanks for joining us. And my guest today is
Jeff Schwartz, and hello, Joe, and hello to all the wonderful listeners to this Hot Seat Challenge.
Hello. Thank you. I need to mention also 2 other things. One, this is not scripted. It's not rehearsed. So if glitches happen, you live it with us as it goes along. The other thing is I take notes. Right now I have a blank pad with nothing on it. And so it's not, when I'm looking down, I'm a slow writer. It's not because I'm falling asleep. It's because my mind is like a sieve and I need to make notes to refer back to. And we spent the first 20 minutes talking about Jeff's passion, the last 10 minutes approximately, his business and how he provides a distinct value over his competition. So, Jeff, what's your favorite pastime?
Well, my favorite pastime is investing with my wife of 40 years, who is my best friend.
I'm going to interrupt if I can. I'm sure your wife is watching, having said that. Nicely done. However, we'll be watching it. Now, I'm assuming you were not married when you were 3 to 5 years of age, that there were laws against such things. There was no interest in that. If you were a duke or an earl, that I could see that being prearranged or something. So as a young child, maybe I'll say 3 to 5-ish, were the things you enjoyed doing that just grabbed at you?
Well, I enjoyed baseball. I've been a diehard Yankee fan. As I got into my, I guess, late teens, I've always enjoyed the game of poker.
Oh, now I'm going to ask you at least 2 questions. You say enjoy baseball, playing or observing?
Yes, and yes. I
Okay,
was in Little League, and back in '72, my team won the World Series, and I still look at the trophy on my desk.
very nice. What position did you play?
I played catcher and outfield. As a matter of fact, the awards dinner was Speaker Thurman Munson of the Yankees,
I've
and
heard that name.
I got to meet my first MLB players, and he signed my yearbook, signed my trophy. I got a Polaroid picture he signed.
Nice,
That's one of my prize memorabilia collections.
nice. What did you enjoy about baseball?
I enjoy the activity. I enjoy the camaraderie. Being part of a team, being together, achieving for a certain goal, and just being outdoors.
I get that. And catcher, outfielder, which did you prefer?
You know, I don't think there was a preference, Joe. It depended on what the team needed that particular day. It's two different types of positions.
Yes.
Interesting enough, I still, here I am, 65 years young,
Okay.
and I still have the glove that I had when I played as a
Very nice. Is it signed?
new. I guess I could sign it though, and but it wasn't worth much more than 37 cents. So I don't know.
Fair enough. Well, it could be a legacy now. Who's to say that that's quite an accomplishment? And so you enjoyed playing baseball. And so I'm assuming, I don't, were you playing poker when you're still illegal at it, or was that something that developed later in life?
Well, as long as I can remember, I've always enjoyed it,
Okay.
and I do enjoy it, and I enjoy it so much. I have a passion. Because when you have a passion for it, it's important. Now, I'm not the high stakes gambler. It's the camaraderie. In this day and age, there's a lot of online poker that has no interest to me.
Right.
The actual live poker. And I'll tell you, Joe, I've enjoyed it so much. And I used to play tournaments once a month. with a group of
Interesting.
people.
Okay.
And, we decided that 1 month out of the year, we're not going to play for ourselves. We're going to play for charity.
Nice.
And we started a charity in 2017. 8 guys got together. We called it Life's Angels.
Hmm.
And the mission of Life's Angels was to give back to those who dealt a bad hand in life. So 8 guys got together. We had a little tournament at a VFW hall. That was 8 years ago.
Right.
Uh, in April of 25, we're going to have our eighth annual event, which is now attended by over 250 people, open
Nice.
bar and food. And to this time, Joe, we have given away $500,000 from that little charity we started.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm going to make a request, and this is although live. I got a little bit of freeze on that. If you have anything open still on your computer that you'd like to close out, or you can close out, I would make that request of you. If not, we will go on. Okay, I'm pretty
Let's
maxed.
go on.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds good. Now, I like the phrase that for those who were dealt a bad hand, that we're doing this charity for. Poker, I can see the sense of fellowship in poker, but it's somewhat competitive. So I'm assuming you guys are, maybe girls also, the group is seasoned enough that you play some serious playing. I hate to use the same word twice in the same sentence, but I'm also assuming that after the game, or after the games, to me, there's a similarity there. After the experience, that you guys are now sharing maybe cigars and scotch or something. I have no idea. Is it you go, you play your game, you get up and you leave, or is there some fellowship before and after that's part of the event?
It's before, after, and during. Now, I'm not a smoker. I don't do cigars. And the games I usually play are not drink, but water and soft drinks. But there's such a camaraderie. Yes, there's an element of competition.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the same gentlemen we see month after month. And even at the Life's Angels, it's a co ed. Uh, I enjoy it because you learn a lot about people sitting at a poker table. You're
Okay.
a different person. And, we're going to get into this later, I know, Joe, but at the poker table, I've gotten business because
Right.
people know who I am and what I'm
Mm-hmm.
about. And, you just enjoy. We don't play any stakes that'll change anyone's lives one way or another. We
Right.
stay for fun. And, there's competition. Of course it is. It's a game of skill. There's some
True.
luck involved, but it's a game of skill.
I get that, and as I would say, sharing skill perhaps back and forth between each other.
Absolutely. The group, especially the board members of Life's Angels, we will discuss hands, we will discuss strategies. I mean, once a year, there's a group of us that all congregate in Las Vegas for 5 days, and we just enjoy each other's company. And that's why year after year, our event has grown and our friendships have been even more tightened.
Okay, very nice. So when you were I'm assuming you went to college, yes?
Went to college, went to law school.
Oh, okay, snuck that one in. So the what was your major in college?
I had a communications and political science, a dual
All right,
major.
and law school. What was your focus?
Well, it's a 3 year program, and there's really no focus per se. You take all the things, you make a determination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I went to law school in San Diego, California.
Okay,
Not a bad thing from a New Yorker.
fair.
So after that, I really enjoyed civil litigation,
Okay,
and throughout my career, that's what I've done. First with plaintiff's personal injury, but more the majority of the career was corporate counsel, general counsel to businesses.
okay, I can get that. I understand that concept. Well, then you said corporate civil litigation, but when you say counsel, that sounds almost like more I won't say bookkeeping side, but more of a structural procedural side rather than civil litigation side. Am I wrong about that?
Well, any good attorney, litigator, does all the things to keep their client out of court, but is prepared to go to court if necessary.
Right.
So whenever litigation is actually filed, and statistics are nationwide, only 5% of those matters that are actually filed ever see a trial.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what the issues are, knowing how to console or and counsel and advise the particular clients with the litigation background. And I've done judge trials, jury trials, bench trials, appellate trials, even had one matter for the U.S. Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of pedigree and knowledge assists the clients that I'm doing in their day-to-day operations.
I
Plus
understand.
owning 6 businesses myself.
Mm-hmm. I'll be with you in a moment. I'm a slow rider.
It's all you're diligent, Joe.
I hear that. I didn't realize how much work it took to be an attorney, because the laws, they say the law is a living entity. It's not, because every day you wake up, there's a different flavor to it. Certainly. I think you're a trial attorney, I'm assuming, based on what you described. So I think, to me, being not in the industry, there's the technical side of it, the legal side of it, but then there's the art form of engaging with your audience, the jury, that becomes, I would suspect, sometimes more important than the actual, it's the meat on the bone. That's perhaps, from my perspective, the best way to say it. Do you see that the same or in some way different conceptually?
I would say more important, and this is the way I can describe it. Imagine you're sitting as a juror
Mm-hmm.
in a courtroom in trial for a week.
Okay.
You have all these attorneys are droning on these evidence that you're going to do. You're bored because you're not familiar with the system. And
Mm-hmm.
after a week, I, as the litigator, get 20 minutes to tie it all together, tell a story, and have you rule in favor of my client.
Okay.
And that skill set, that analytical process is transferable in the business of business. So understanding concepts and telling a story and simplifying it as if I'm discussing it to, let's say, a fifth grader.
Right.
But it's enjoyable. There are maybe different flavors of this, but every hour in the courtroom, forget about all the years you took to get there. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably about 5 hours of preparation for that 1 hour in there.
Okay.
Because if you're not in control, guaranteed the other side is. So
Fair.
you will be fully prepared. And that level of discipline and preparation is transferable to what I work with my clients in operations.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but we'll get there.
No, I mean, we're flowing, we're talking. I'm just sharing the analysis, and you say passion.
Right.
And this is my passion. I guess it goes back to what we started with baseball, being part of a team and wanted to help because we had a common goal.
Right.
Whether you're kids on the ballpark or you're, employees in a business or executives in a business, you have a common goal to achieve something. And you can see the name of my business is conceive, believe, achieve.
Right.
Credo I've lived by all my life.
I hear that. I hear that. And the concept here that I'm going to ask you further, you talk about being fully prepared. One of the stories I've heard from people I know who are attorneys, you never go to trial. If you go to trial, you never get surprised. You have to basically, I guess, cover all the bases, maybe even be creative, what may come up, what may not come up. So you can meet your objective as best you can. Is that a truism in the industry?
It is. That's why there's such amount of preparation before trial. You do your investigation, you depositions, you do all the information. Of course, now there may be some times in trial that you get surprised,
Mm-hmm.
but use not only the knowledge of that particular case, the knowledge of the decades of experience that you've seen, because there are a lot of similarities. The law is the law.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the facts are almost all the same. Why there are two sides? It's how you analyze, how you perceive, and how you present.
Okay.
Hopefully, that helps in your analytical comprehension.
Well, I get what you're saying. I appreciate that. And I'm going to share with you a little bit. Again, when I talk about making notes, I show you a blank paper. It's got a lot of stuff on it. Now, if you can see it well, it doesn't matter what I wrote down. So at some point, I say about 20 minutes we have dialogue. It's been 15 minutes looking at my clock on the screen, but I'm going to slide it into what you do as a business and how you got there. You went to law school. Why did you choose law back in training?
You know, that question's been asked of me many times, and I was one of those unique individuals who knew that I wanted to be an attorney back in grade school.
Interesting.
None of my family was attorneys, but I think it goes back to that passion of the greater good, wanting to help. Uh, Even in grade school, I got involved in an organization. I rose to a New York State officer in that when I was like 15 years old or something.
Right.
I mean, eventually in '92, Joe, I was recruited and I ran for United States Congress. Came in
Mhm.
second. So, life is not a dress rehearsal. Life is for the living. And
Right.
when I see opportunities, I do that. So I think what drove me to the law was the passion for learning and the passion for a greater good. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't have rose-colored glasses on. I mean, I know there are things that change, uh, but I've enjoyed it. I also enjoy the challenge. There's a word, challenge is truly an opportunity.
Right.
And the more difficult something is, the more I have to be creative to do that. Doing it back to the creative aspect, and I don't know if this falls into the parameters of your schedule.
Right.
Um, when I started my first law practice in 1988,
Hmm.
of course, you need an address, you need a phone number. So, using the creativity, the conceive, believe, achieve, I created a phone number in 1988, which I still have today.
Right.
And that number is 2345678.
That's nice. That's very good. Easy to remember that one. Even better than 1-800-800. Because
You can count on it.
that's true. That's nice. I'm going to share with you a little bit of my concept of you because we get this, I think, as an audience, certainly from my own perspective, that you're currently historically an attorney. Do you still actively practice? When I say active, that may be a redundant question that is a part of what you do now.
In Joe, I have the legal skills and I have the ability to practice. In 2015, I sold my law practice
Okay.
and I opened Conceive, Believe, Achieve. And I'll tell you why I did that. From the years 2013 to 2015, I had the most two humbling years of my entire professional career. I became the chancellor of the oldest and largest law fraternity in the world, about
Interesting.
200,000 members, past presidents of the United States, U.S. Supreme Court justices, and I was the chancellor that led them into the second century.
Hmm.
So that was wonderful. And look, what I'm doing right now, since I've owned six businesses, I've
Right.
consulted with hundreds of businesses, that's what I'm doing right now. Without the parameters or the limitations of the law, although I have the knowledge, the legal knowledge, I'm working with businesses to have them conceive, believe, achieve, to have overcome their operational challenges, so their transitional challenges. And as I present, people sometimes are frustrated with the business of business. And that's my sandbox. That's
Hmm.
where I play. That's where I get my passion.
I hear that. Nicely stated. And I'll say this to the audience that if you're my 48th guest and you've been the most coherent, most cohesive respondent that I've had, and that clearly reflects the skill of an attorney. And I say that with full compliment. I'm going to share with you a little bit about my insight of who you are, the person, and what I see, the consistency. I know several lawyers. Some are very good, like any other profession, medicine, teaching. Some are very good, some are so-so, and some just manage to pass the bar, and that's okay. Uh, but when I look back at your history, and I'm looking to my notes, that when you were much, first off, for anybody who knows they want to be an attorney from day one, pretty much, and then actually do it, I find it astounding. But having said that, that you make the point about you like the sense of team workmanship, people coming together. Each will have different perspectives, understandably, but yet develop a cohesive program for the greater good. In the instance of a young kid, it's winning baseball games. And it's not simply winning baseball games, it's winning games in a stellar manner, a high degree of achievement. And I'll leap forward. I don't normally go back and forth, but in your chancellor position, it's really the same concept. The game may be a misnomer, but I think the art form, I'll say it like that, that might be more generic and more understandable by many people. So we talk about playing baseball. You become older, you need more challenge. Maybe you're too old to play kiddie baseball, you're not into professional baseball, so you go to poker. How you slid into it, no idea. Maybe you were watching Family or not, saw it on TV or not, had a friend or not, but again, developed a skill. And many people I think that I see on TV, I'll say it like that, I don't really know people who are dedicated poker players, but certainly there are those that play always, I think, for the challenge. I think others play because they think they're good at what they do. They got money, they're bored, why not do it? I guess there are any number of reasons. But I get the impression that for you, it's much more integral to being with people, that you share similar philosophies, similar challenges. You use each other to get better at what you do. And I see that when you talk about being the chancellor of this legal entity, it's the same thing. People who are good at what they do, who share the skills, by any count will have different approaches and philosophies. But here you are, and I'll use it in a generic format. I'll say working the game, playing the game. I don't want to lose it by saying playing the game, but working the process. That might be a better way to say it. And the issue is, it's competition can be fun. For people who don't understand that, it can be ruthless. But if you're good at it, rephrase that, you become good at it if you stay with it. And I would see where you could generate respect for each other. Everybody benefits from it. Even if it's cutthroat, as long as it's not malicious, that's something different. But I can see what you've done with the baseball format, in terms of team playing, and I'm looking at my notes again, with the poker format, with the legal format. I think what you've accomplished is extraordinary. And I'm not in the industry, but I know a fair number of attorneys, and no one has discussed the legacy that you've discussed so far. And where many people might rest on their laurels and say, well, I'm accomplished so in my law practice and I'll doodle or daddle in something else, you're off in another direction. And again, you need challenges to keep the circulation going, I think. Having said that, first off, the numbers, the sequential numbers shows originality. You talk about conceive, believe, achieve. And I make these points because, again, some people might argue there are too many lawyers historically, that there are many people who have reached a certain age of life and they've gone on cruisomatic syndrome. But you clearly, in my mind, is innovative, always moving forward. And the challenge is probably a rush for you. I'll say it like that. And you develop the skill to catch up to it. Am I far off what I'm saying?
No, your powers of perception are right on. And I guess after 48 sessions of the hot seat, you get a little bit of that.
I would hope.
I tell people that I meet, and especially my clients, everyone has a certain high impact, high income skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you enjoy doing and should do all the time. But there are things that you don't like or things that you're challenged about. And going the idea of teamwork and building a greater good, you need to find others who play at what you work at. Because as much as you don't like to do something, there's someone that gets up every morning, can't wait for the sun to rise to do what you don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do what your passion is. And if we can instill that mindset and instill that focus and put a plan together, it's a passion for me. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not allergic to money.
Mm,
but I enjoy to see the growth of the people that I work with
mhm.
and how they can actually live their passion. And a lot of people have a to-do list, but the key is have a to delegate list.
Okay, I
What
hear that. I hear that, and I would nuance it somewhat differently. I think any number of people can talk about the commitment, the skill, the dedication, and the shrewd ones, and will say, "I don't really care about my clients." Who's going to admit they don't care about their clients? But what you bring to the table is a legacy. It's more of what you've walked your talk. If one looks at your past, look at your journey, look at your consistency of taking on challenges, uh, enjoying it, benefiting from it with the people that you're involved with, and still creative. You didn't get to where you are by happenstance. You were born into it by bloodline. Clearly, you've earned your right to be where you are, and the fact that your achievement represents now collectively not what you win a court case in, but a, a case of working with people and putting people together in a manner that they respect you enough, benefit by being with you enough that they want to have you as a part of their role. So to the audience, if you're looking for this type of persona to help you build a business, well, wouldn't you want somebody who has an established legacy, not just talking the talk, but walking the talk, of making a world for you that perhaps you didn't conceive in a competitive environment and be successful with it? And that would be my impression. Any comments on that?
Joe, thank you very much for the observations. And you have a feeling for what my passion is.
Mhm.
And in talking, I have a feeling what your passion is, and you fulfill the passion because every day we have a choice of what we want to do. Involuntary servitude was abolished many years ago.
Mhm.
When you get up in the morning, look, a lot of people have a definition of success.
Right.
That's one I've had is love what you do so much that you can't wait for the sun to rise to do it all over again.
Fair enough.
And we have a choice of what we want to do. If you don't like what you're doing, do something else. Look
Mhm.
at all the people in this great universe. There are things that they do because they want to do. If you don't have the passion, you're going to hate life.
I hear that. I'm
Um,
into a slight commercial break. I keep forgetting having so much fun with what we're doing. This is a business, folks. There will be each of us a discussion section, the YouTube link that will go out to also Facebook and LinkedIn. If you want to connect, rephrase that, not if, when you want to connect, Jeff, his information, contact information will be in there. You have any questions, please share that with us. We do audit the comments. We get back as quickly as we can. From my perspective, you have interest in what I'm doing, either to be a guest, to see how it might help you and build your business, to discover your secret sauce, please reach out also. And by all means, share us to your friends, families, and come back again. I think, Jeff, you've taken us home very nicely on this program. The issue of conceive, believe, and achieve. Mike, it even rhymes the same. This, I'm fronting my face. It's you are good at what you do, and I don't say that very often. And so I want to thank you for being a guest on taking the hot seat challenge. I think you handled it very, very well.
I've loved investing time with you, Joe. You should never want to spend time. You always want to invest time.
Mhm.
And the investment of time with you has been tremendous returns. So thank you.
Okay, thank you also, folks. Remember to come back again. Thank you for enjoying us, and have a good season.